Hey guys, welcome to the Evan and Katelyn podcast. Episode number 28.
I'm definitely paying attention.
Version 3.0.
3.0 because this is the third time we've started this podcast?
Yes. Hey, you know what? The first two times were just practice. The third time,
it's going to be so good.
It's going to be so good, so good. All the transitions will be staged. We'll know exactly what we're going to be talking about.
That's why it's going to be so good.
So good.
Okay.
Because that's what you guys tuned in for, right? Perfectly rehearsed podcasts.
Perfectly. Can't you tell by this opening that it's so perfectly rehearsed?
So perfectly rehearsed.
Okay.
So perfect.
Okay, so we legit recorded the entire thing and didn't realize that our audio was not recording until we were done. Then we tried again for like maybe 5 minutes and gave up.
Well, like, I think that I might have talked about this in the podcast before, but like my biggest pet peeve is doing things again, especially if I thought that they were just fine or great the first time. And I thought that the version 1.0 was really good. And, but like doing things again just makes me so ragey. And usually I'm a pretty happy guy. I'm easygoing. I'm very optimistic and everything. But like this one thing just makes me like ragey, not upset. Because like it makes me upset too, and I think that you're upset when we lose work too.
Yeah, I get upset. You get angry.
I get angry, and not that much makes me angry. I think bad drivers and doing things twice.
Well, I will say from a perspective outside of yourself, you don't really come off as angry. You come off as upset, just like a more extreme upset.
But you know, internal, there's literally like a fire burning within me, and like I want to go to the gym and like find a punching bag or something like that.
Really, it's that intense?
It's that intense. I don't actually want to go to the gym because I never go to the gym.
You want to go to the gym?
I want to go on Amazon.com, one day prime a punching bag, mount it to the ceiling, and then by then won't be upset anymore. But I'll be prepared for the next time I have to do something again.
Instead, we play some Minecraft and watch some YouTube videos to feel better.
And now, this time, version 3.0, it's going to be the best. It's going to be smooth.
So smooth.
Smooth jazz podcast.
Oh, yeah. How do we do that?
Smooth jazz.
I was going to say, how do we do the voice effects again? We haven't really done that much.
Oh yeah, I can do the voice effects. You just go
like this.
Make me low.
Smooth jazz. Smooth jazz.
I apologize to everyone who had to go through that. It's so much fun for us. I don't know if it's fun for you.
I mean, maybe or maybe not.
You're welcome.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so
Taylor,
now that we've rehearsed it 3 times, we know what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah, what are we going to be talking about today?
Well, Katelyn, I'm glad you asked. We're going to be talking about like a new segment where we talk about what's been going on in our lives for the past week. Then we're going to go on to a question from one of our listeners, I think from Patreon, and then we're going to go on to the thing of the week. Yay! Perfectly rehearsed. Okay, so let's start with the Project Egress stuff. For those of you who haven't like seen our post about it or anything, it's via the Smithsonian's National Air and Space Museum. They kind of reached out to Adam Savage and his team at Tested and Savage Industries, and they kind of put together this idea of recreating the escape hatch from the Apollo 11 landing module, and it's going to be a Frankenstein of like all sorts of different makers coming together to make this project a reality.
Yeah, so Adam's team reached out to like 50, I think, different makers / maker spaces / teams to each do an individual part. So we did one of those parts.
Yeah,
but a lot of different like YouTube makers did that we're friends with as well.
Yeah, I mean like, you know, Jimmy,
Jimmy
Ton of
Dresta,
Props, Joel from 3D Printing Nerd.
I like to make stuff, like, Bob.
Yeah, like Stephanie. I mean, there's like tons. We'll link to where Tested has all of the people listed out and stuff. But it's great because like there's such a wide variety of parts. I mean, Saunders Machine Shop, they have a channel called NYCNC, and if you guys have looked up like CNC videos, like a normal person like I have, I mean, they like took the engineering drawings and like legit made them out of like aluminum and steel, and they like colored it, and they did all different materials. They anodized things. Some people made pieces out of wood and
Jimmy
brass.
did wood.
Yeah,
Someone did ceramics. I'm not sure who. We just heard that someone did like a ceramic piece.
and I think it's like a joint between two other pieces and
But I
everything.
mean, the hatch that we're recreating, it's not like a functional. It's
No.
It's more of an art piece.
This is a
They
tribute.
have to fit together, but they
This
don't
is a
have to.
tribute
function.
to the Apollo 11 mission, which
Yeah.
where the U.S. went to the moon, which is really, really cool. I mean,
Super
thinking
cool.
about 50 years ago, either of our phones has more computing power than the entire, like, than any computer back then. Like, they went up into space and back with less computing power than our cell phones, and the computers they used to calculate things back then with like I don't know if it was like hand punch calculator stick things. I mean, there's a lot of hand calculations and stuff, and
Crazy.
our phones are more powerful than any computer back then, and we figured out how to do that, and it's just insane. And there's this documentary called Apollo 11. We'll have a link to that down below too, and it just seems really cool. I kind of found it in connection to this Project Egress that we have going on, and it's really cool, and I want to watch it because it's a documentary, but there's no voiceover. This is the thing that makes a difference. All of the talking is from TV commentary and NASA discussions that they went through the archive. So there is no like narrator saying like back, like on April 12th, this happened and then this happened, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, no, all like
So they
TV
just-
commentary and discussions that were in the moment while it was all happening.
They just repurpose the footage into a different type of format.
Into a format and kind of made like a little bit of a more movie-like feel to it, like they're transporting you there and stuff. And they
That-
found all this unreleased, never seen before footage and stuff.
That makes me think of Alex Steele.
Yeah.
Because he, I think it's like UK History Channel or something like that, had or still has a show where they take his footage from his YouTube channel and format it down for TV show episodes. So they like take his multi-part sword builds and make it one episode. But it was crazy because when we were doing our collab with him, he had gotten like a preview file of one of it.
And it was just like
had
a generic narrator with a British accent. Here, you do it. I can't do it.
So it was hilarious because it was his footage, but to piece it all together, they had some narrated pieces. And so we're listening, and then all of a sudden we hear this voice going, "Hello, I'm Alex Steele," and we're like, "That's not Alex Steele."
That's not Alex Steele.
But yeah, it was funny.
And I think that he actually did, like Alec did the voiceover and basically
For the real one?
For those of you who haven't seen Alex Steele's channel, he is an amazing blacksmith and he makes crazy weapons. But on YouTube, each episode is probably like 10, 20 minutes. And sometimes there's 12 parts for like
Or 20.
a single, or 20 parts or 30 parts for a single sword or something like that.
Because
So
he posts almost every day.
yeah, so what this channel did and what this content creation or what this like studio did is they took all that raw footage, they recut it and added a voiceover, and they turned like a 30 or 40 minute episode out of like all of that content. And sometimes they pulled content from like 3 of his series to make a single
That's crazy.
episode online. So they had all this raw footage, and then they did the voiceover and everything.
That's so interesting. I wonder if that will happen more in the future, where TV companies will find like a proven success on YouTube and say like, "Oh, I think that can make good content for
Well, I think
TV if we
the
reformat it."
crazy thing is some companies are doing that right now. Like Bon Appetit, they are repurposing their content and they're putting it on like Roku and Apple TV and like all these other things as like series.
Yeah, but that's different.
That's different. Yeah,
They're
that's
not
not on like Food
re-editing it.
Network. Yeah,
They're
they're
not
just
like
putting.
they're not like cutting 3 of Brad's videos together and re-editing it to make it something different.
So if they recut a few of our videos together to make a TV show, what would it be?
The Resin Files.
The Resin Files.
I don't
It's just us running around, screaming all the time, like panicking. Ah, it's kicking, it's kicking, it's kicking, it's kicking.
It's kicking. Yeah.
And this is a montage of me saying like, I don't like this. I'm going to add a little bit more. Oh no, I've made it worse.
Yeah.
It seems to be a trend.
It seems to be a trend.
Yeah, but I think one reason why we want to do this whole like, what's new with us in the past week is some things that we do just don't make it into any of our content, and we still want to talk about it and still want to share it with you. And I think that this just makes the most sense, like to share it in podcast form. Like,
I think
more
if we
details on
didn't,
the
I think if we didn't tell people that, oh, we're starting a new section of our podcast where we're just going to talk about what's new, I think people wouldn't even notice, because most podcasts start with a like, what's new?
Yeah.
Like, what are you working on? What's new with you?
But I think in the past we've just like
We've gone straight into a topic.
Yeah, we've just started the podcast. We've jumped straight into a topic, and then we play a game, and then we wrap up. Sometimes we do story times, but like all of the story times we've done have been like vacation stories or childhood stories or what have you. You know.
Yeah.
Now
Should
we're
we get
telling-
back to Project Egress.
Yeah, Project Egress. So, so when they reached out to us, we were making this part. It's like a linkage between two hinges, and in the actual hatch, it like moves two levers in parallel. When I looked at the file, I wanted to make it adjustable, so I added real threads. I like modeled in threads into the file.
It's
it was
pretty
just
fancy.
like solid. It was pretty fancy. That was me patting my back. I tried to like make it loud so that people listening to just audio would hear it.
Oh
I
yeah,
think it
but
worked.
they'll miss the treat of you like hunching over towards the mic, patting your back, that all the people watching the video will get.
Oh, YouTube watchers, you're welcome. So I modeled in the threads so that it's fancy and adjustable, and I also wanted us to like stand out and be a little bit fancy. I went with laser 3D printing because there's these swivel points in the 3D model that like actually function in real life, you know, because the whole thing swivels and hinges and stuff. So my thought was to model everything in and print it super, super accurately because we have lasers. But what I didn't check is the recommended gap between two walls so that things don't fuse together. So
Guess what?
they
They
fused.
fused.
And by that point, we were kind of running out of time because, you know, we accepted this project, but we also have commitments to lots of other
Yeah.
sponsors.
Well, and the thing is, when we accepted it, we decided to not make a video about it. One, because like we weren't really sure how satisfying of a video it would be, because it's just us doing one part of a much bigger piece, but also doing a video makes it take at least twice as long,
Yes.
and we didn't have that much time. So
And it was a smart idea looking backwards. 'Cause
Oh, it totally was.
We shipped that out like the week it was due with
But-
not much spare time.
But since we weren't making a video on it, we still had to make our normally scheduled videos. So we were
Yeah.
still making it and filming videos at the same time. So it was still hard to finish it in time.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, the past 2 weeks have been crazy with
Kind of crazy.
the
The
Old Spice
project.
Maybe
Yeah.
we should talk about the Old Spice sometime. That could maybe be a whole topic in
We
and
can
of
talk about
itself.
it. We can talk about it now.
Yeah, talk about
it.
talk about it right now. Okay, so
What
Old
do I
Spice, we
talk
just so that launched according to you guys, and when this is being released, that launched like 3 days ago.
On Friday, yes.
Oh,
It's
boy.
Friday today, so we literally just launched it.
Boy, that was an adventure.
Yes.
It was a good adventure. I mean, Old Spice and the agencies we worked with, they were all on the same page. Everyone was trying to make this happen. But because it was such a big company, there were 5 companies involved, y'all.
Yeah.
5 companies.
Yeah. So
Lots of people, lots of approval. And like, I understand because Old Spice has like a brand. They want to make sure that everything is like on their marketing points and within like the guidelines and everything. But
I think we're so used to
it's us and the person making the decision. Those are the 2 people communicating. It's
and like content creation speed is like quick. You know, most of the time we're working on our video for the current week, or if we're lucky, the next week. And that's as far of a lead as we ever have, you know? So it's always like things are happening quickly.
But because like we need to send it to one person, that person sends it to another person, that person sends it to another person who has to submit the result to a supervising company to make sure that fits in with the because one company is owned by another company and everything, and it's just like it takes like a week for the feedback loop at times. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And like to get everything like the ball rolling. So it was just like it was just business at another scale that we weren't fully used to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And everyone, you know, we were all like working together to try to make it happen by this morning.
Everyone was all on the same
everyone-
page. Everyone was on the same team.
But it's just funny because it was like so down to the wire. Like
Oh my gosh.
we were really close. We almost always launch at 11 a.m. on Fridays, CST, and we launched at I think 12:30, because like we were still waiting on like the final contract. Like we hadn't even signed the contract right before.
Yeah. So on Tuesday before the video launched, and the video that launched is Old Spice, but that's the sponsor, not the video. It's the Live Ocean or
the Resin Ocean Live Edge Bath Caddy.
Yes, that's it. And so we basically finished the project and the edit Tuesday before launch, and we submitted it at like 1. And then at that point, we had no clue whether it was going to be launched that week or not.
And we were like, oh man, if it's not approved, are we going to have to come up with a new video for this week? Are we just going to take a buffer week? Like, what are we going to do?
And then on Wednesday, we still had no clue. Thursday, we got the word that it was going to be approved, but it wasn't approved on Thursday. And it was like, oh, it's going to be Thursday, end of day. But then more delays were hit. And then
basically, it was Friday, literally right before we launched.
It was approved Friday at 11, and then we got the contract Friday noon.
And then we published.
And then we published, and then we ate.
Yeah.
And then we were able to relax for the first time in a while.
Yeah. We've just been like on edge, hoping it would get approved.
And I mean, normally in a scenario like this, we would schedule this really, really far out, but because of fiscal years and budgeting and everything, it had to be rushed from their end too. So it was just a little bit of a learning thing. But also, I mean, I think a lot of content creators, especially in LA, they might run on a faster schedule because they can film faster and they can edit faster.
Well,
and
I don't know if I would say that.
Oh yeah, well, it depends on like the scope. It depends on.
I don't think like the people in LA can film faster.
Oh no, sorry, not in LA. But like, let's say that you're filming a skit or something, or if the entire thing was a skit. So we did a skit, and then we did a multi-day build with resin curing, and there's no ability to rush resin curing.
Well, here's what I'll say. A lot of the examples they sent us from people they had worked with before, the whole video was just the skit.
Yes.
So, but because we're not a skit channel, we did the skit as the ad spot, but then we had to do a whole video.
Yeah, then we had to do a whole video afterwards, and the one of the agencies is in LA that had the product, and we had to kind of run around to 5 stores to find the right products with the new updated.
There's just a lot of shenanigans.
There's a lot of shenanigans. It was definitely like, I'm so glad we did it. It was a huge learning experience.
Yeah,
it was
and
great
everyone we
working
worked with was really great. It was just interesting because it was like the biggest company with the most like in-betweens that we've ever done.
Yeah, but also it's really cool because I think we've talked about it on the podcast before. We love all of our sponsors, but we've always kind of wondered why some of the in air quotes bigger companies that spend a lot of money on TV. We've been wondering like when some of those larger companies that have the huge budgets, when are they going to go into like YouTube? And I think that we were talking on our monthly Patreon hangouts with some of our patrons there, and a lot of them are in marketing, it turns out, and a few of them have experience at these big companies. And one of the things that we learned from our patrons was these big companies, they have such a huge budget that if they spread it out across 1,000 content creators, it'd be such a big campaign to manage. And it's a lot easier to make one thing and put all of their money behind that one thing and just blast it across TV, as opposed to with a whole bunch of individual tailored campaigns.
Basically, content creators are too cheap.
But it's like,
right?
But it's also, I think that like, that they can say, let's put this in front of like 100, 200, 500 million people, really easy. With a push of a button, it's going to cost a lot of money, and they may not be paying attention, and they may DVR through it, but supposedly it's going to reach these like billion people, where with YouTube, if you want to reach 1 billion people, you need to put it on like hundreds of videos, thousands of videos.
It could be a lot less than that. If you reach out to 10 people or 100 people.
Yeah, 100 people that all get 1 million, and you have to vet every channel, and you have to make sure that your branding fits with that channel's content, and it's like, because all content kind of needs to be tailored to some degree for the channel. Like if we're going to give like an endorsement, if we're going to like do a little ad spot on our channel, first we need to get the product, make sure we like it, which thankfully we did. And then we need to like figure out a strategy with a company so that like our messaging and our brand fits with theirs, and we have to merge them. And it's just
Imagine
like
doing that with hundreds of channels.
hundreds or thousands
Yeah.
of times over.
Yeah.
And that's why there's so many agencies, and that's why like the load gets distributed. Like the guidance comes from up here, then it splits into agencies, and those agencies have leads, and those leads reach out to people, and it all like goes back and forth. It's a big to do, but I think that it is a lot more effective because you do get those personalized messages.
Yeah. Yeah, but it
it's
was
so
interesting.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and a part of that too is like with big companies, if you have a budget and you don't spend it all, next year you get a smaller budget.
Yeah.
That's how like most corporations work. So it couldn't just be like, oh, well, we'll just only spend half of it this year and just work with 50 content creators
Yeah.
just to test it out. It's like, no, you got to spend it all.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're not going to have it next year.
Well, oh, you didn't need this. Oh, there's extra budget. Okay, we'll absorb it over into whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's crazy. It's so interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So that was kind of a long side tangent. Hey, version 3, the best version.
Yeah.
You guys are getting the best version because we didn't even talk about that in version 1 or 2.
Yeah, version 1 and 2 were lame.
Lame.
Another thing that has been going on lately is our hunt for the new cameras.
Yeah.
Actually, we just bought 2.
Dun, dun. I'm imagining like the music, the hunt music.
Can you sing it again?
Dun, dun, dun. It's like the one that was playing at the beginning of one of the things. I don't hear that at all. I hear that as that's what you were singing right there.
I'm
You were totally
singing
singing the
the
Macarena.
jungle hunting music that we use in some. We used it in the Old Spice video when
We
you're
did?
hunting for
Oh, yeah.
products.
I know the song, but you weren't singing it. You were
Yeah.
singing the Macarena. You were singing ding 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 ding.
No, clear difference. Listen. There's like a hee-haw in it.
I'm pretty
a
sure
manly
you
hee-haw.
sung it so accurately. We could just replace all of our music with your songs. And everyone would be just as
We
happy.
should do that. Oh my gosh, I wonder, you know how like there's obviously a lot of songs you can't use on YouTube for copyright reasons?
Oh, yeah, we should just sing them.
We should just sing them.
I can show you my
my
resin.
resin.
It is
Shine,
curing too
shimmering
fast.
resin.
Oh, jeez. We should just sing like, we should just start our next channel, our 5th channel, Evan and Katelyn
Music.
Sings. Evan and Katelyn Sings. The grammar is just as good as all of our other grammar.
The grammar
JK,
is as good as our
JK.
singing.
4 channels, 3 healthy ones and 1 dead one is all we can handle
It's
right
not
now.
dead. It's just neglected.
Dormant.
Because we don't know what to do with Evan and Katelyn 2.
You know what? It will happen. Something will happen.
Or we'll change the name and make it something else.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, you know.
Subscribe there for
Who knows
surprises.
what?
Who knows what? Yeah, exactly. Oh, man.
Camera hunt.
Camera hunt. Yeah, so this has been a long-term project of mine, and I think that I've been on it off and on for probably 2 years.
Like since we started the channel, really. Because when we started the channel, we had a Fuji X-T10 that I had gotten for free from like a work event. And so we're just like, oh, we'll just use that because we have it.
Yeah, and you know what? It's pretty. I like the color science of it. I like the colors. It's like
It's got the nice blurry background.
there's a lot of good things going for it, but there are a few things that were absolutely infuriating.
Ting?
Sorry, I'm just trying to like give you like 1/100th of how frustrated we were on like a daily basis using this camera.
Like it was fine if you had it on a tripod and the thing you were filming was not changing its distance from the camera.
Yeah, so like the things that are like, I'm gonna go through the list of things that I absolutely hated about that camera. One, the autofocus was really slow. It was slow and inaccurate.
There's so many clips of us where it's just us like yelling at the camera, like focus, focus, focus.
Focus. Cuss word here. So it could not focus, and it was horribly slow at focusing. There was like some firmware issue with our main lens that had like the kit lens that came with it. That could zoom and had some optical image stabilization. So that's what we used when we were holding it. When we set it down on a tripod, it freaked out. You couldn't turn off optical image stabilization even if you like flicked the lever on the lens.
So it would just like get wavy,
Wah, wah,
like
wah, wah,
wah, wah,
wah.
wah, wah. And so every time we switched from handheld to tripod, we had to also change the lens because we could use our fixed lenses, our fixed zoom lenses on the tripod, and then the zoom lens handheld.
Yeah, and the prime lenses
Not the other way around. Yeah, prime
were
lenses.
kind of prettier because like we had got a prime pancake lens that went down to f1.4, so that was like the most super blurry things, and it makes everything look artistic because you focus on one thing and everything in the background is blurry, and there's like a separation that happens, and if you have a messy background, no worries, just put it on f1.4.
That's how
you
we
won't
hit our
see
mess.
it.
That's how we hit our mess for like a
Years.
year.
So we had that when it was on the tripod, but then we had to switch lenses in the middle of like filming, and that there's a lot of bad things about that. Oftentimes we're woodworking or our hands are messy.
Yeah, so there's a lot
like
of dust
imagine
in the air.
resin, resin hands, and we're swapping lenses. That's not good, and it also like interrupts our flow because like we suck at acting. We are not good
I
actors.
thought we were great in our commercial.
Okay, maybe we're getting better at skits, but that's like a very specific type of acting. It's not really like being genuine. It's like you can be exaggerated and a little bit extra because we can do that. So it's like interrupting our flow. If like we have an idea, we want to capture it right then. It's hard to like hold on to an idea and then deliver that line because you have to like swap lenses because like it's on a tripod. Then you want to flip it up and you have to switch. Anyways.
Yeah. So the next camera
No. There's another thing that I hated about it.
Okay.
Okay, no, we can move on.
Yeah, let's move
Okay,
on.
so another thing is the menu system, switching ISOs. You had to like
was bad.
It was bad. It was slow and it slowed us down.
So we got a second camera. I'm trying to get to the camera we bought.
Okay,
So we got a second camera late last year. The Canon
M50.
EOS M50.
No, it's not an EOS, is it?
Well, whatever.
Canon
we'll
M50.
We'll put a link to it. Canon M50, great little super easy to use camera. Pretty cheap.
It was the EOS M50.
I knew it. The downside is that it didn't look the prettiest, and that's what most of our recent videos have been filmed on. Primarily, anytime we're hand holding it, it's that camera, and so it's fine, but you don't get like the blurry background.
But you know what? I'd still recommend. I still really like the M50.
I love it.
I love it, and I would recommend it as anyone's first YouTube camera.
It is a perfect YouTube camera. It's
And the
not too
kit lens is
expensive.
everything you need. Just
Everything
like
you need.
buy that one thing and you're good to get going right away with like, it has stabilization. It has the flip out screen. It has a good menu system. It has good video workflow. Everything about it is really, really good. It's just
And we're probably still going to use it for a lot of stuff.
like, it doesn't get like that super pretty feel that some cameras have.
Yeah, you don't get the blurry background, and it there's a little bit less like range of darks to lights. So sometimes the darks get a little too dark, sometimes the lights get a little too light. So do you want to say what the new camera is?
Oh yeah, the new camera is the EOS R.
It's a Canon. Another
It's a Canon.
Same interface as our EOS M50, which I love. Don't have to learn a new one because I hate learning new camera interfaces.
And we got like a kit lens with it that's a 24 to 105 lens, and it has a f4 constant. So that means you can zoom through the whole focal range and keep that 4 f-stop. And the lower number f-stop you have, which is a bigger opening, it's letting in more light.
So you get more blurry background. Whether you're zoomed in or zoomed out, it still can maintain that same f-stop.
And it's a full frame camera, which comes with like a lot of things going for it.
Makes everything look nicer.
It makes everything look nicer.
I'm trying to because I know camera terms,
Yeah.
some of them, but I'm trying to not make this too techie.
Sorry, I won't go into all of the details, but like it
I know
basically
you've
it's
been
just
deep
like,
in it.
oh, I've been so deep into it, and like I think I've been on the hunt for like the in air quotes perfect camera for so long. I've put in like 30 plus hours. I think hopefully it's going to be the perfect camera.
I would say my only concern is it's about twice the weight
Yes.
of the M50.
The body isn't. The body is just about
Well,
as...
we're not going to be carrying it around without a lens on it.
Yeah, the lens is like really heavy.
It's pretty heavy.
But that's because it's a fancier lens.
Well, I understand that, and I know like glass can only, it's going to weigh what it's going to weigh.
It's going to weigh what's going to weigh, yeah.
To get the fancier look that we want, and we need more glass in that lens. But I'm just going to look at it as like my workout program.
Yeah, just like
do
do
some
camera
lifts.
curls like while you're filming.
Yeah.
And then the audience can do the workout with you. They can go up and down and up and down. No, that'd be
That
really
would be
bad.
terrible. No. But yeah, but I am excited. I'm telling myself that the weight will be a good thing because that it will make my arms stronger.
Also, if the weight is heavier, it won't move around as much because it has more momentum going for it. So
Won't that
it'll
make
be
it move
steadier.
more? More momentum means more like inertia, right?
But like as you move and stuff, it won't just like blow away in the wind. It'll be like
I
more
always
sturdy.
have troubles with the old cameras blowing away.
Blowing away in the wind.
Actually-
oh my gosh, yeah. Tongariro.
Yeah, but so we have a podcast episode on this, a story time where we went on this like crazy alpine crossing in New Zealand, but our camera case blew away.
Yeah.
Like ripped off of the camera
And, like,
and blew down into a volcano.
And in New Zealand, there's no safety walls. There's no fence. You're just on top of a dormant volcano.
And it just blew in there.
And like I'm not going to say it was like a steep drop off 5 feet to my right, but it was
It was a pretty steep drop off.
pretty steep, and it
We
was
could-
about 5 feet away.
We couldn't have returned it.
Oh no!
It was gone.
The wind, and like within a second, like there's absolutely no way I could have caught it or
No.
chased it or anything. It was just like
It was gone.
gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like we were at the peak pretty much at that point.
Yeah.
Whew. Whew.
Anyways,
Yeah.
we'll link to that episode with that story, with the Tongariro story.
Yeah, but like and also we got a camcorder to go
Yeah.
along with this.
So when we were doing the Old Spice video and we had the top down, we were like, man, and we were using our M50 for the top down, and then this camera that we use here for the like wider constant shot, and we were like, man, it'd be so nice to have two camcorders for these two types of shots because camcorders record for a really, really long time, whereas cameras will stop recording at 30 minutes. And so
Well, and we were looking that up recently, and it's completely arbitrary. The 30-minute recording limit on cameras. It's all because of a law in the EU that was enacted back in 2006, classifying high-end digital cameras as video recorders, which has a tax. But so then they like did some shenanigans and stuff. It's just.
I just don't understand. Like, so it's
so annoying.
It's to keep camcorders on the market to give them like an advantage that cameras don't have.
I think so. That's my rough understanding. If anyone knows more about this
But it's
stupid
weird
law, put it
because
in the comments.
It's like the camera companies make the camcorders
And the cameras.
and the cameras. So
It's so they can sell two products instead of one, and they
wouldn't
can
it
get
be
more money.
But wouldn't it be more? I feel like it'd be more efficient just to like
It would be so much more efficient, and you
more efficient for them, like price wise.
You can hack your cameras with this like magic lantern, which like I'm guessing some of the comments are going to be about that. But you can hack your cameras with this software upgrade, but it might void the warranty, and
I don't
I
want
don't
to do
know.
that on such a pricey
such an expensive camera.
Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
but anyways, we got like a mid-range camcorder as well.
But the
We have
important
so many cameras now.
But the important thing about this Canon camcorder that matches the Canon new camera that we got is now all of our cameras out there, the M50, the EOS R, and the camcorder is, I believe, the Vixia G50. Since they're all Canon, they're all using like the same like color science. We can put them on the same profile, the same white balance, and
That's going to be so nice.
everything should look the same when you import all of the clips into Premiere. All three cameras will look basically like they're from one, just at different settings.
Which will be nice because I normally have to color correct each camera individually.
Yeah.
Which is just a big pain. So
And that's saving time. And like if you think about like that time that you have to put into color correction every single video, and that what that time is worth and how much that could add up
are you justifying the money we just spent?
over like hundreds of videos, I'm justifying it. Yes.
Basically, we're making money by buying these cameras.
Yes, completely. We're making money. I'm so glad you see my point now. But also, it's like, it's been kind of haunting me, this decision. I felt a lot of pressure to like figure it out because we keep on making videos and they could be made prettier. And I know that's
Yeah.
not really the point of our videos to be like pretty. Have we had this conversation? When we had it with Patreon, maybe? I think that's when. Is that the only place?
We had it with each other.
Okay.
And I think we had it in our monthly Patreon hangout chat.
Okay. I'm trying to like remember like what we said, like what was in version 1, what was in 2, what was in the chat, what was in like
Well, I think the
other
point
places.
of what you're saying is like the purpose of our videos isn't to have like the most beautiful shots. We're not like a channel vlog.
No.
Or something.
A channel vlog?
A-
Like a travel channel?
a
Vlog channel travel?
A travel vlog. So that's not like the point of our videos, but we do. Like we would like them to look nicer, and maybe we're spoiled because like sometimes we'll look at an old video where we were using the infuriatingly frustrating but very pretty Fuji camera,
Yeah.
and we're like, man, our
That
old
was
videos were
pretty.
so pretty, and now they're kind of
Not as pretty.
not as pretty.
Well, but also it's like I think that so much of what we do has the potential to be so pretty. Like the resin things, the woodworking
Yeah.
things, the finishing things. Like we make some pretty things, and I'm like, we're never going to go back and photograph or video that. We're putting so many hours of work into the things.
That's
I just
true.
like, and like I love cameras, I love videos, I love photography and videography, and like I think because it's one of my in air quote things. If you listen to our last episode, I do consider that one of my things, and I think that it bothers me that like I know I could be doing the exact same thing and it could look so much better.
Yeah.
And it's bothering me that it isn't because I haven't put in the time and money into making that decision.
But now we have.
But now we have.
So next video will be with the new fancy camera.
Oh yeah.
We'll
Which
see if
I
anyone
think
notices a difference.
might be soap.
It might be soap making. We've been watching a lot of soap making.
We've been
stuff.
making. Wait, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. It's my
Okay.
thing of the
wait.
week.
Moving on from camera.
Yeah. I'm realizing we might not get to the question this time. We'll just keep going with updates. I want to talk about 4th of July.
Okay,
Because
all right.
if we wait a week, it's going to be super irrelevant.
It's already a little bit
It's
irrelevant.
already a little bit irrelevant. But, we haven't, our last podcast we recorded before 4th of July. So Evan had his first 4th of July with my family.
And I've been excited about it for so long because, as you guys know, I love fiery things.
And so does my family. So 4th of July at our house is always, and like New Year's too, any excuse for fireworks has always been like a really big thing ever since I was very little, like 25 years ago. We've been like, we do 4th of July big. And so the tradition is my brother and my dad go pick out fireworks and they spend only $39. Because the first time they did it, my mom asked, how much money did you guys spend? And they were like, $39? And then with like a trunk full of fireworks.
You know, like mortars, all the good stuff, all the fancy stuff, the stuff that you look and you're, I wish I could just buy that. Like when I was younger and stuff, I was like,
You want the big
I
ones?
want that. I want that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So every year it's just $39.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Well, no, he went over by 27 cents this year. I think I
Oh,
remember.
yeah. It was a splurge because you were
Yeah.
visiting.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it was super fun. The reason you hadn't been to one before is because, when I was younger, oftentimes we were like either just outside the city limits, our house was, or we would go to my grandparents' house and they live outside the city limits. And so we'd always do it big. But then once we started dating, like my family was in California for a while.
You don't want to do
You don't-
illegal
you can't do
fireworks
it
in California. No.
They couldn't do it at their last couple houses, basically.
Yeah.
And so you hadn't been a part of it, but now
But
they're
now
back
they're in the middle of
Texas.
nowhere.
Yeah, so now they can do it. So it was really fun.
It was really fun. I enjoyed myself so much. Like that was the first time I had set off the mortars, and those were just like those are like legit fireworks. You
They're
set
like-
them off, and you're like, yeah, that's a firework.
It's like the ones you'd see at shows.
The ones you see at shows. I mean, they're like probably slightly smaller down to the ground, but like since they're smaller down to the ground, they look just as big as the ones that are
Yeah.
higher in the air
And bigger.
and bigger.
Yeah.
They look just as nice as any firework you'd see.
And the
elsewhere.
mortars are the ones where it's like there's like a tube and you drop a like little ball or a cylinder down into the tube and it
Yeah.
shoots up. Those are like the super big ones.
I shot a Roman candle for my first time.
Which
It was exciting.
funny because you were holding it backwards.
I was holding
And
it backwards
None
initially.
of us, except for my brother's friend, who was like safely standing farther away because he was like, I don't know about these fireworks.
Well, I was kind of trusting like the group to like make sure I was doing it right.
No, it wasn't your fault. It was me and my brother and my dad. It was our fault.
But like, I wonder if your dad lit it. I wonder if he was like,
Well, he
like,
might have been.
He might have done that.
He might have been. But yeah, so my brother's friend was like, Evan, you might want to turn that around because you're holding it backwards and it would have shot backwards at us.
Yeah.
But yeah, my dad might have done that on purpose.
He might have done it
He
on
was
purpose.
trolling people because so when we do it, it's not just one person setting off the fireworks. Like this time it was 3.
Everyone's just doing it.
You, my brother, and my dad all just like doing your own thing, setting off fireworks, so you never knew when one was gonna start.
I loved it because then like 2 might blow up at the exact same time. And it
which
was
is
like,
cool.
ooh, yeah.
But my dad was also, as you guys were doing yours, he had like some M50s in his, I think they're M50s, like little firecracker, individual
Little things that just go
firecrackers.
bang, yeah.
Yeah, little individual ones in his pocket. And I would see him pull one out of his pocket, light it, and just like toss it towards you guys, just to, like see if you'd jump.
Ooh, another good trolling moment is so there's what are those little tiny firecracker
The
things?
black hats.
Black hats. So, like those are the ones where there's like usually a string of like 50 and they're about like a foot long and they're all in a row and you light them and you throw them and it goes, brrrr, you know, no big deal.
We had an 8,000 pack.
8,000. It was like 4 times the size of my face. It was very large. It was a gigantic
a roll that big, yeah.
So it's like, I thought that they were going to like, you know, distribute it or cut it or like do something with it. No, like they put the entire roll on the ground and they lit the end and it just started going off. Bang, 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 bang,
And then they're like, this isn't fast enough. So it had stopped at one point, like the fuse disconnected or something. I'm not sure why it stopped. And they're like, well, this wasn't fast enough anyway. So they throw it in the fire pit. And it just
goes.
It just goes.
It was amazing. It was like the craziest, like.
Well, because when you're doing it in the normal roll, it kind of is going down the path. You know, you might set off a few at a time, but generally it's like kind of in order down the path of the roll.
Yeah.
But in the fire pit, it was all happening.
All at once, pretty much.
Insane.
But it lasted a long time. It lasted like 2 minutes or something like that. It was just like going.
Yeah.
Thankfully, there's also a strong breeze in one direction. So like, and it was pretty constant. So all the smoke was going in one direction. So we didn't have to deal with that. So that was a nice, pleasant bonus. Because otherwise that could have been like, oh my gosh, like
would have been running.
chaos.
Yeah.
Well, it still was kind of chaos. Speaking of chaos, so we did that like 5,000 roll, 8,000 roll. Sorry, 8,000. I don't want to insult the size of your roll. But there's like another small roll that no one was aware of. Like Katelyn's brother had it stashed away or something.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a fire pit that was like this within this like hedge circle with like only one exit. So the first time, like I think your dad threw it in, and everyone saw it. Everyone was aware of it.
No one was near the fire pit.
No one was near the fire pit, and it went off, and it was crazy. But then everyone went back to the fire pit.
Mm-hmm. And my brother was like, hey, what if I just throw this in? And so he kind of like goes into the fire pit area where the chairs are, like within the hedge, and he throws it in. The other family members who were at the fire pit, like it starts going off and they're like, you know, they're getting popped. And
He got him. He controlled him pretty good.
He got him really good. But they were near the entrance of the like hedged area, so they ran out. My brother is trapped because he was on the back end and he couldn't go past the fire pit.
He's trapped between fireworks and a hedge.
And a hedge, so he's just getting pinged like crazy. So he ended up trolling himself.
He said it. He seemed to still think it was worth it.
Yeah, I mean, you still got him. It
was fun. It was epic. I did at the end, like, I really liked setting off multiple at once. So it would like bam, 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 and stuff like that. But we only had the lighters and everything, and maybe started thinking that it'd be really fun to like buy or design or like come up with some sort of system to light multiple all at once. And I know that they make those like starter kits for rockets, but I wonder if there's a way to jig up one of those so I could set off like 5 or 20 mortars all at once. Could you imagine like 20 mortars going off in your backyard or like right above you?
That would be crazy.
That'd be amazing.
That'd be a lot.
That'd be the finale.
Yeah.
I might have to like build some like grid of like metal pipes and like a system for that.
Weld them together. New project.
Yeah. New welding project.
Yeah, we'll do it in time for
New Year's. DIY firework. No,
we're recommended. No. Anytime the words DIY firework are on there, it's like, maybe we shouldn't.
Maybe we shouldn't, yeah.
Maybe that's just a project for us.
we attempt.
We attempt a DIY firework display.
Yeah. Maybe not.
Maybe not. Yeah, as we
It
say
would be pretty fun.
Oh, it would be fun.
We could even have like different diameters for different size,
It would be
like
fun.
mortars and stuff.
Yeah.
I see this like look of hesitation in your eye. I'm just like, Evan, your flamethrowers around the house are already like dangerous enough.
Yeah.
By your hair. I haven't gotten you ever,
That's
and I
true.
never will.
I like how you said ever instead of yet. Thank you.
I thought about that and I hesitated and I changed my words.
Thank
So I'm
you
going
for
to be
that.
incredibly safe and thoughtful within my use of fire-related peripherals.
Always.
Also, another fun thing while we're at your parents' house, we finally picked up your childhood N64
Yes, I'm so
from like
excited.
way back in the day.
We're going to play some N64 games on the gaming channel and on the stream.
I wonder if we should modify your N64, like repaint it, do color changing paint.
Only if we make a video out of it.
Like we buy a clear case online because you can buy a clear case, embed LEDs in it. So take apart your old one, embed LEDs in it, and then reassemble it.
I'm scared to take it apart.
Yeah, you're right. But, like, what if something goes wrong?
know.
Never mind. Maybe we'll buy like a used one on Amazon and reassemble. No, never mind. Why would we do that? We
Yeah,
already
that
have a
seems
work
silly.
one. That's fine. Never mind. Okay. Oh, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna play those N64 games on Evan and Katelyn Gaming, and it's gonna be really exciting to like revisit these old classics, like
They're
go down memory lane,
Classics for me.
see if they hold up. Well, some of them
Oh,
are
they
super
will.
classics for me. I'm so excited to play Pokemon Snap, Katelyn.
Oh, yeah, me
You
too.
have no idea. I'm so excited to play Pokemon Snap.
Throwing those apples at that Pikachu. Get him to jump on that surfboard.
See if we can find Mew.
Oh,
It's gonna be great.
it's going to be great.
I think it's gonna be such a fun game to stream too, because it's just like
It's so
come
chill.
hang out with us and it'll be fun. I'm not sure if it'll make for good highlights, but
don't
we'll
know.
just like leave all that pressure on our editors. Thank you, editors. Yeah, so it'll be fun.
Yeah.
We're also on the hunt for more editors, like
Yeah,
for the gaming channel.
channel.
Oh man, that's been
Yeah. We have two right now, Burke and Samuel. They're both super awesome.
super awesome. We've worked with them enough that they know what we want.
Mm-hmm.
They know our humor. They know our video or like the music we use, and everything works super smoothly.
Mm-hmm. But we've started streaming a lot more than we did when we first brought them on. And so like the backlog is building up. And so we're like, oh man, maybe we need a third. So we've been looking, but it's tough to find people.
Well, because like we're not looking for just a skilled editor. We're looking for someone with the same sense of humor for us. And it's hard to say like, be funny in the way that we want you to be funny. It's not
Yeah.
just like even like have a good sense of humor or anything. It's like I want you to understand our humor and do the same thing,
Yeah.
which is like
You can't like you have to either have that sense of humor or not have it, but you can't like fake it.
And like not many people have the opportunity. Like if you're an editor, sometimes you might do professional work or you might have done like vlogs for someone or who knows, but like maybe you haven't had the chance to like express your sense of humor in the way that you want to. And it's just like there aren't that many people who can like submit a video that proves that they are the perfect candidate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
don't
So
know.
that's why it's been a hunt.
It's been a hunt. It's been a hunt.
No!
Hey, Macarena. Ah!
I'm gonna play the song like that's gonna be the outro music, so everyone can hear that. No, I can't.
You started Macarena. Wow.
Oh, man.
Well, we're like 51 minutes in.
We ended up talking way longer than we did the first one. This was the better one.
This was the better one.
But I think
Honestly,
we might
yeah.
have to save our question about what our families and friends think about our YouTubing for another episode because
Yeah.
we're already almost an hour
Sorry
in.
for like the false advertising there. Gosh. We just have to have more podcasts. Good thing we have all these topics.
Good thing.
Good thing. Look at this. Honestly, guys, like I'm so happy we started doing this What's New segment because
There's a lot of things that happen that we've been like, oh well, we can't really make that into a full topic, so we just won't cover it.
yeah.
So I think it'll be good to like have have like a little what's new that sometimes might take up an entire episode, but sometimes it might just be like a little section and then we'll get into a topic.
Yeah.
We're still figuring out.
We're still like stick with
format.
us and you'll be experienced. You'll experience formats yet unknown Words are hard.
Good sell.
T-shirt coming soon. A T-shirt available right now. We'll link it below.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Words are hard T-shirt, guys.
Oh.
It's finally out.
Yeah, we have
yeah.
it. We haven't announced it yet, but we were going to in the next video.
Yeah.
But we have a Words Are Hard T-shirt.
So for those of you listening and watching,
You can get it first.
you can get it first, and you can beat everyone.
Aside from our $20 patrons who heard about it last night or 2 nights ago in our chat.
Yeah. So
They get it first because they heard about it. You guys get it second.
So since you guys got to hear about this exclusive podcast exclusive, now it was for the low price of sharing it with your friends.
You're asking people to share the podcast?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I was understanding.
I don't want to yell words are hard again.
But words are hard.
But words are hard!
Yes, we would appreciate a share of this podcast with your friends or frenemies or just like internet strangers.
And also, we really do appreciate like reading your reviews. It's nice to hear that like these podcasts that we do, just like us sitting here chatting and catching up or talking about topics, like mean something.
Because it's fun for us to do too.
To people.
We like chatting.
It is fun, but like it's like probably our smallest audience, which doesn't really mean anything. As long as it's providing value to someone, it's worth our time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay, guys, it's time for the thing of the week. Okay, so my thing of the week is the Canon EOS R and the Vixia G50. How
It's kind of like a cop-out thing of the week, but I mean, I guess we'll accept it. Do you have anything additional to say about them that you haven't already said?
I could talk about cameras for so long. I could talk about the features. I could talk about why I chose them. But that might not be the most interesting.
We've already kind of talked about it.
We've kind of already talked about it. Okay, but those are my things of the week. I'm obsessed with them. Like I got them and like I spent the next hour like figuring them out, like adjusting all the dials, like figuring out the settings.
It was like midnight and I was like, are you getting sleepy yet?
And I'm like, no, new technology. I am figuring them out. I'm setting it all up. Like, Katelyn, look at this dial. This dial does this. You can push this button and it does this. And like, I just get excited about it. Yeah.
I'm excited about them too.
Yeah.
Maybe not quite as, I mean, I don't want to say not as excited as you. It's, for me, the like figuring out of the buttons, I'm just like, okay, I just need to know what I need to know to do it. I don't know if I would say like there's an excitement in it.
Yeah. I like we did go, there's another aside, but like I did think about the possibility of starting like Evan and Katelyn Tech or something like that.
Like a tech channel.
Like a tech channel, like reviews or tips, tricks, whatever's. But like I realized that there aren't enough videos, even if we had the time, besides the time when we don't have the time, but even if we had the time magically, we don't buy enough things and there isn't enough reoccurring content for years and years of Evan and Katelyn technology.
And it's not a cheap
not,
channel
like,
to just
sustainable
start up.
or cheap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though I love things
I mean,
and technology.
maybe just have a Evan's like
No.
tech minute on the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. Evan's Tech Minute.
Yeah.
And all like coming soon, guys. UMPCs, ultra mobile PCs.
Coming
hopefully
soon.
something is in the mail from China for me, but it's
Something tiny and cute.
something tiny and cute. But you know, it's like you order these specialty products. Sometimes they take a while. Sometimes they're not out yet. So
A soon to come.
update coming
Evan's
soon.
Tech Corner.
Yeah.
Or
Hi, Katelyn.
minute. I don't know.
What's your thing of the week?
My thing of the week. So, like we briefly mentioned earlier, we've been looking at soap making videos because we might want to try making some soaps. A lot of people have requested it, and I was like, oh, I'm interested in learning about soaps. Sounds cool.
And in the research, we found it's kind of like resin in some ways.
Kind of resiny, yeah.
I know. So
There's
it's like
mold making, things start kicking and stuff happens.
it's
and there's,
resin
like,
adjacent.
It's resin. It was totally resin adjacent. It's like resin that you can like put on your body.
Yes. Unlike resin. Do not put resin on your body.
Don't do that.
Unnecessary disclaimers by Evan.
But one channel we found, and we've only watched like a handful of her videos, but they're super cute. It's Royalty Soaps, and she just makes a bunch of crazy, really fun soaps. Like the most recent video is like a beer soap video where it was just going crazy. She's really cute and funny.
There's a lot of variety that goes into soaps, I found out. There's
a
like
lot of
all the different
variety.
methods. There's like the cold method, the hot method, the like melt and pour method.
There's so much, and then there's just like so much you can do. Like, look, if you look at her thumbnails, they all look like crazy desserts and food and stuff. There's just like crazy.
Some of them are food.
Well, so yeah, there's food in some of them.
Food based.
Yeah.
and like dried.
had Skittles in it.
Dried food. Wait, there's this.
One had Skittles.
No.
And then we watched one with beer. What do you mean no? You could totally put Skittles in soap.
But that's unsanitary.
I feel like you could do it. I don't know. I saw Skittles. Maybe unless they were like soap Skittles. Like
They might have been like soap Skittles. Like
They
you
looked
like
real.
you mold Skittles out of soap and then you embed them in this.
I'm just going by a quick glance at a thumbnail.
Caitlin is now the expert now.
I'm the expert at glancing
I've
at
watched a
thumbnails.
few YouTube videos.
I'm an expert in soaps. Skittles are totally doable.
Well, I think we already did our ask at the end, so is this the end?
Yeah.
Bye!
This is like the most awkward ending to a podcast ever. Thank you guys for listening. This has been super fun hanging out with you guys and chit-chatting with you guys. We'll see you next time. You want to do your bye?
Bye!